Alright, we are getting this tank finished up, and then I've got one dread that needs done. We'll see how this goes. I'm not sure for that dread if I'm doing sword and board or spear yet. We'll find that out later. No idea what your preferred use for mold line removal is and gate removal. I just kind of like to use my knife. Get that nice sharp edge on there. Run it right along the surface. If you got a curved surface, you can always scrape it with the back. Seems to work pretty well. You know, the point where I really need to buy some more thinner. Burgoo's getting a little thick. Welcome back, long man. How you doing? Glad you popped in because I had forgot to pick your brain yesterday. I was gonna ask for the dreadnought what you thought the correct choices. Do you go sword and board or do you go spear? I've got kind of a rule of cool answer, but I'm not sure what the actual correct answer is. It is, in fact, another day that ends in Y. And luckily, it's one that comes right before the weekend. Do you feel like either of them does better for you? I feel like the sword and board looks cooler, but it might be nice to have a little bit of that ranged, kind of like we were talking with those tanks yesterday. Nice. Okay. Then that's probably how I will go with it. Because, yeah, I do think it looks cooler. And when I'm building a new army, unfortunately, that's kind of how I judge things for the most part. Give me one sec. I'm gonna modify that text box that I put on a little bit. Doesn't look quite right. I've thought about doing some magnetizing on them. I've been told that you can kind of get away with not worrying about the pose too much because it's pretty similar. I'm not sure if I want to go that route. I guess we'll see when we get to the build what it ends up being like. And if I'm up for it, I guess that would make a lot more sense. Myself option since none of us really know what 11th is bringing. What are you up to today besides hanging out and chilling, watching some streams? +20 parts. Oh man, that's gonna be wild. Mentally prepare myself for that part, I guess. How many of the kits have you done so far for the dreads? Yep. Do the Iron Warrior Terminators have a new kit, or is this one of the older Terminator kits? I honestly don't keep up with Chaos very much. At some point I should, but a little overwhelmed. Once again. If that helps at all. One from the new box, 2 Gladys, 2 Telemon, 2 Atlas. Is it Achilles, like Achilles, or is it Oculus? I'm not really sure. I figure at some point I'll have a couple of them, just because I don't usually like running singulars of units. I feel like it gets a little bit predictable. I like to have at least 2, sometimes 3. I don't run 3s much, but like the I'm spacing their name, the new dreads for the Space Marine. I say new. I guess they're pretty old at this point. Ballistas. There we go. I like to run 3 of those guys just because they seem pretty efficient. The rerolls on them are super nice. Oculus. Yeah. I know most people don't get very spun up about that stuff, but I've been told that it's Custodes and definitely not Custodes. And Custards. The Banana Boys. Yep. The Emperor's Golden Children. Thought it was hilarious when the guy came out with those 3D printed like male pole dancer guys with just the helmets on. Like, yep, that's gonna get some people worked up. Deck. Back over here, see if I got some line space. So for the Iron Warriors, what are you gonna end up running them with? What kind of weapon options do you get for those Terminators? Yeah, I've constantly got little nicks and cuts everywhere. I'll tell you what, I bought a box of like 100 blades. I've had this thing for a long, long, long time. And I mean, I've still got, I don't know, maybe almost 2/3 of it. Things last forever. His Power Fist, Reaper Autocannon. Yeah. I just like the look of the Reaper Autocannons. I think those things look awesome. Just about finished up with the body. I'll have to go back to the box to find that sprue that has all my weapons for the turret. I was getting excited because I was running out of sprues and I thought I grabbed everything. But looking at this, I don't imagine that's going to do me much good. And then these little guys, I glued them in on my first pod. And immediately after that glue set, I thought to myself, well, that's kind of silly. It'd make a lot more sense to just tack them to a board and spray them silver independently, because that would save me all kinds of trouble. But since I'm already committed with that first one, I'll just press on and hand paint them all. Next time. Tips for the next one. You talking about is in the physical model of it is actually a lot longer than you'd expect. Oh, gotcha. Let's see. Did you put your guy on this flying base? I'm debating about it. Seems kind of flimsy. It's not the worst flying base I've ever seen. But I am a little scared of it. It's probably unreasonable, given that it feels pretty chunky. But I've got some trust issues with GW and flight bases. Inceptors and all the little fiddly flying units. on those tiny little pegs. Nice. Okay. Then I will probably just use it. No reason to re-engineer it. You don't need to. Forgot to ask yesterday. I'd put a filter on the mic to try and get some of this scraping noise out. Can you still hear that at all? I might have to go a little more aggressive if you can. Cool. Glad it's working out. Nothing worse than sitting there and hearing screeching noises. So I haven't been around since second edition. What's your favorite one been? I've been in and out since third. I think it was like third to fifth, and then I played some seventh and eighth, and then came back in at the tail end of ninth, and have been in for 10th, if I'm remembering my times right. It is really nice that the faction crosses over so smoothly. Yep. Talk to you in a bit. Bumped that music up a little bit. Let me know if when you come back it's a little too much. Didn't realize I wasn't putting out any music at all. Welcome back. Trying to figure out why my music knocked out. Alright, there we go. Alright, we'll give that a shot. I have really enjoyed how this kit's been going together, so it feels much more like a traditional model kit. You can build like a historical tank or something. So long. You were saying you've been in for a long time. You gotten yourself into airbrushing? I'd assume so if you're doing, like, especially commission work. when I got into this really seriously, coming back in at one point, I wasn't playing, I was just painting at the time. My wife decided that she was going to get me an airbrush setup for my birthday. I tell her it's the best, worst gift she's ever gotten me. That's taken up all the time. But it is an amazing tool. I love it so much. I definitely would not be doing what I'm doing now without that thing. Hmm. 15. Play the hunt and pet game. Where's the other 15? It's 18. There it is. And props to you for using the brush. I imagine with some of the bigger armies, it takes a while. That's some commitment. I like it. There we go. Yeah. Years. Would years be more appropriate? I definitely like brushwork. It still has its place. Definitely never going away. But for getting a start on models, I just find it indispensable. Do you use traditional steps like just brushing on primer, letting that cure up, then going back and brushing your base coats, working up your highlights, shadows, stuff like that? Help if I read the instructions correctly. Alright, so you at least get a little bit of a quicker start with your primer. That helps. Yep. But if you've got a good method that's repeatable and gives you the results you're looking for, pretty hard to argue with that. Even if it takes a little time. Yep. It's what you're doing for fun. You don't need to rush through it. Take it, enjoy it. Get the most out of your hobby dollar. Kind of like we were talking about with the guys that army hop or unit hop, all the meta shifts happen. How they keep up with it monetarily, never know. If it takes you a little bit longer, then that's fine. Just gives you more enjoyment for your dollar per set that you buy. I'm trying to find a text color that works. So far, nothing's been super good. I think my biggest issue is just that I've got a very varied background. See how black looks for a little bit. That is true. Those deals you come across on eBay are amazing. It wasn't eBay, but maybe 2 or 3 months ago, I found a person that was selling some of the stuff off that they just weren't going to get around to, and it was a set of old Blood Angels. So the firstborn, where's 23? It was firstborn Death Company and firstborn Sanguinary Guard. Had like 3 sets of Sangard, 2 5-man Death Companies, an old Librarian Dreadnought, which, I mean, that guy you can't use anyway now. But they're asking for like $40. And you can't find those. They definitely needed a little bit of help. A little simple green bath. But just to have that many of those models that are not going to show up ever again, and for that price, was wild. And then I've got a couple sets of knights that I need to get to. I found those for really good deals. It was like 3 big knights and a couple baby knights. I think it was 280 or 300, something like that. I really want to do like a broken down army being reclaimed by the forest. I think that'd be a really cool look for those guys. Not quite sure how to execute yet. Probably why I haven't done it. But we'll get there. It is always a lot of fun when you find those little things. Even if it's not for the armies that you have. Something about finding good deals. I try and tell myself all the time, like, it's not a good deal if I don't need it. But that side of me usually loses out. What's going on? What am I missing? I think probably once I get these guys done, or at least the tank done, I'll be off. And then over the weekend, so far, I think that green and gold with some purple up to pink is winning out for color schemes. I might try one of them as a test model over the weekend. and then hopefully be back on Monday with an actual working color scheme to do some painting. See how this goes. Best laid plans though, right? Never quite works out how you hope. Yep, exactly. Never quite works out the way you hope. But it'll be good. Take some time, do something nice. Do a little hobbying in the evening. All right. Thanks for hopping on, man. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day, and maybe I'll catch you on next week when hopefully we get some painting done. It actually comes together pretty nicely. Like I said, I've been impressed so far. I think it's a nice kit. The way you're talking about that dreadnought though has me a little bit suspicious. That might be a little bit more challenging. See how this works out. Oh yeah, there we go. Like that. Then I think we'll attach some of this stuff for painting. Definitely not going to actually glue it on yet. I think it's gonna be a pain to try and get that. Too chunky. I think this is the way. Put it in here like this and accept that I'm gonna have to do a little bit of brush work wherever this stuff is covering. Given that it's in a recess on the underside, I'm not too. All right. Not too bad. I do think I'm just gonna fix these guns straightforward. There we go. Alright, I am gonna take care of this guy over the weekend. I don't think I'm gonna deal with that on stream. Get a test model done. I'll be back on Monday. Hopefully. Yeah, if the test, hopefully have the test scheme implemented so I can get it across all these guys. See how it goes. Thanks to all you who tuned in. I will catch you guys next time.